Alright, well today is the day. We are going to try and grind this 36-inch Allett Reelmower. So let's take a look and see what we got to do to get this thing mounted and ground. Okay, so I've removed the bed knife. You take these two bolts out that are right here. It was a 17 millimeter or 11/16. They both had just a little bit of slop to them. And then I also removed the adjusting knob. These roll pins are really in here, and I felt like just hitting them was kind of putting a bend on this, so I just took the adjusting knob off. But the bed knife is off, and I'm gonna get that cleaned up and figure out how to mount that as well. Alright, so some of the first things I look for when I'm doing a reel that I haven't worked on is just how to mount the thing. I want to make sure that I can get my gauges in to get it parallel to the rails, and right now this is sitting pretty good. My vertical gauge is sitting right on the middle of the shaft here. It looks like I should be able to get pretty far over to this right side before I hit the motor. And then obviously I'll be able to get over here on the left side as well. I've got it mounted in the bed knife holes here and here. And then right now I have it up in the air with my hoist, but I'm thinking I'm going to put these mounting arms on the hole where the bed knife adjustment is. So we're going to try that and see if we can get it measured and go from there. Okay, it took a little going back and forth. One issue I had was being able to get the stone in past here, so I have to have the reel lifted up enough to get the stone to the reel. I have it mounted on these points here. I've left this side loose so that we can make some adjustments. So I'm going to take some preliminary readings and just see how parallel we are. And then I also think I'm going to just mount in right here. It looks like a 3/4 bolt, so I'll just put a socket on there to spin it. So let's see if we can get this thing parallel. Okay, so I like to take some preliminary measurements. I've adjusted things a little bit, but you can see right here I'm at 4 on the little dial and 0 on the big dial. I tighten this side down, everything over here I tighten down, and then I leave this side loose. And so now I'll come over here, and I'm really close. I'm at 98. So now what I like to do is I will tighten everything down, and then I'll remeasure, and I usually have enough movement that I can move a few thousandths. So this is on the horizontal. We'll check the vertical axis next. Okay, now I'm just checking the vertical axis. I've got it at 2 on the little dial, 0 on the big. I'm just touching off on the middle of the shaft right there. We'll come over to the other side and we'll measure again, and it's really dang close. In fact, that's spot on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten everything up on this side, and I'll remeasure, because when I tighten everything it'll kind of move things just a little bit. Okay, so I have tightened everything down right here. So this bolt is tight, this bolt is tight. So essentially I can no longer pivot here. So we'll check our measurement here. I am at 4 on the little dial, 0 on the big. And I'm pretty much dead on. I might be off by 1,000. but I feel good about that. So we'll double check the vertical, and then we should be ready to spin grind. One other thing to note on this reel is it's called a reverse helix, and so the blades go the opposite way. They're like this, whereas on most normal golf course mowers, the blades will sit like this. In fact, I can show you on this reel right here. See how these are sitting like this. So a little bit different, but we can still grind it. Okay, so we're on our vertical adjustment. I'm at 2 and 0, maybe 2 and 1. And I'm 2 and 0. That's perfect. Okay, so I pre-measured this reel, so I know that it's close to a cylinder. It has a little bit of a large side on the left side. So what I've done is I have the reel to where it's just not touching the grinding stone. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it over to the left side, maybe. And now that I'm at the left side, I'm going to just see if it's touching here, and see how it's just touching ever so slightly. So you can see, yes, this is the bigger side of the reel. So when we start spinning, this side will hit first ever so slightly. The other thing I've done is I've set my stop, so it will come to the end here on the left side. I'm going to actually move it in just a little bit. And then I'll set my stop over here on the right side. So I will just clear the reel right there. And make sure I don't hit the side of the frame, and I don't, so I feel good about that. Okay, so last thing I've done is I've hooked up the drive motor here onto the reel. This was a 3/4 inch bolt here, so I just have a socket on there. That'll allow me to spin the reel. So we will turn that on and make sure it's doing everything we want there. And I think we're ready to grind. Okay, so this is going about how I thought it would. Very light touch over here, and then a little bit firmer touch on the left side, which makes sense because we have a little cone. You can hear it getting a little firmer over there. Okay, so we just got done spin grinding. It feels really sharp on here, so we will go and we're going to take a look at the bed knife next. One thing I did notice on that left side, we had a little bit of it was a little bit bigger on the left side, and if I can get in here close enough, you can see the adjustment is just a little bit less than it was on the right side. And so that makes sense that the left side was just slightly bigger. Okay, so we're getting ready to grind the bed knife here on this Allett 36-inch mower, reel mower. I was unable to mount it on my Neary bed knife grinder, but I've got some good friends out at Schneider's Bluff Golf Course that are going to let me use their 673. It looks like everything's going to fit. I also looked in the book for the Allett mower, and it is recommending a 3 to 5 degree top face. So I'm going to set it at 5 and we'll see what we get here. So after looking at it, I'm going to go with a 3 degree top face on this. I'm refacing the bed knife and I really don't want to remove a ton of material. You can see it's got a little bit of uneven wear there. So we're going to go 3 degrees and I'm going to get this top face done. Okay, it took a few programs to get that flattened out, but we've got a 3 degree top face on this bed knife, so I'm gonna flip it and do the front face next, and then we'll be ready to put this thing back together. Grinding the front face right now. I've got that at a 5 degree front face. It looks like we're giving it a little more angle than it had, not much. Okay, so I got the front face and the top face all done. It is looking pretty good. Feels nice and sharp. So we will take it back and get everything mounted and adjust the reel to bed knife. Okay, so we've got it all spin ground. We've got the bed knife ground. So I'm gonna get this thing put back together and we'll get it cut in paper. Okay, so we just finished. I got everything put back together. I did look at the model on this. It is an Allett CC348E. So I think it's a 34-inch blade on this. So let's see how it's cutting. I'd say it's pretty good. It's ready to go. Okay, this was a pretty fun grind. This was done for our local AAA baseball team, the Bees, there in Salt Lake. If anybody's seen their field, they know they do an awesome job out there, so this should hold up for them pretty good. There's not a lot of videos online that I saw for these Allett reels, so if you have any questions, shoot me a comment. It wasn't too hard to do. The main issue was just getting it mounted, and once that was done, everything went pretty smooth.